So at this stage, I just want to make a few comments regarding surface boundaries when doing takeoffs. So if we look at the 3D view, then we can actually look at how each one of those surfaces has been formed. So if we look at the finished design, and if we look at the original ground level, then we can see that they're extending well beyond the area that we're interested in. Now, if they're coincident surfaces, then that shouldn't be a problem. But we generally would want to be fairly careful that we're not going to get inaccuracies in our volume because we're working outside the area of interest. So using surface boundaries is a good way to control that. There are only two layers that we really need to be concerned with adding surface boundaries to, and these are the original ground level and the finished design level, because all the other layers are dependent on these two layers. So if we look at anything like finished design with subgrades adjusted, it's a dependent surface on finished design. So we can edit the boundary by just editing the actual layer itself. So we can go in here and we can do things like edit the maximum edge length. And that will automatically stop it forming any of these long triangles, which will tidy up the surface a lot. But if I have a specific boundary on my site, then I can just, maybe easier in the 2D view to do this, but if I just select the boundary and I go to my 3D view, or I don't need to be in my 3D view, but I can see what happens if I'm in my 3D view. I then go to the Surfaces tab, Surface Boundaries, and I choose to add this to the finished design. And basically we can see that the surface is going to be rebuilt. All dependent surfaces will be rebuilt with that surface boundary basically being the extent to the surface. Now that surface boundary can be, as we've got in this case, a string that actually goes all the way around the site, or we can just draw a surface boundary just by going to the CAD tool polyline, so we don't need any heights in it, and just drawing a complete boundary. And you can see now that that's been added to the surface boundary. We have that the surface boundary has been tidied up, so we don't have the triangles forming across here. And we also see all the dependent surfaces have been updated as well. So we can do exactly the same on the original ground level just by adding that boundary, and it just makes sure that any takeoff volumes are accurate.